Let's start with the prompt. Which choice best describes data in the graph that supports the conclusion? What is the conclusion? Let's start reading. Urbanization, industrialization, and the warming climate create thermal pollution, excess heat in the shallow subsurface soil. Researchers analyzed thousands of sites on 3 continents under one scenario in which surface temperature remains at the current level and under another in which the surface reaches the maximum plausible temperature. They then categorize each site according to the percentage of local home heating needs that could be met using this excess subsurface heat. The team concluded that if surface temperature approaches the maximum plausible level, the percentage of sites where thermal pollution could feasibly contribute to meeting home heating needs will increase. So a really hard kind of concept to describe here, but basically they're saying that when the Earth itself gets hot due to different things in the environment that shouldn't be there, but when the Earth gets hot, it increases the percentage of sites where the pollution contributes to meeting home needs. So it'll be easier to heat your home if the Earth itself is hot for whatever reason. So let's look at the data now. What are we seeing? We're seeing that when the current surface temperature, let's see, when we have actually, sorry about that, the maximum plausible surface temperature, what we're seeing is that more than 25% of the local heating needs are able to be met. But on the other hand, when we have the current surface temperature, in other words, the Earth is not being heated up, then for 80% or so of the sites, 0% of the home heating needs are met. So really hard to describe here, but when the temperatures are high, it's easier to meet needs. And when the temperatures are low, it's harder to meet needs. So let's look at the answer choices. A, under both temperature conditions, less than 10% of the sites were in the up to 25%, but at the maximum temperature, almost 80% of the sites could have all their local heating needs met by thermal pollution. That doesn't look so bad for now because we are seeing the less than 10% for up to 25, and we are seeing that under the maximum temperature, almost 80% of the sites. So it really matches very closely. So we'll at least leave that for later. B, at current surface temperature, more than 80% of the sites have no need for supplemental local home heating from subsurface thermal pollution. That's kind of the opposite, because what we were learning was that at a higher temperature, at maximum, more people are satisfied. More homes have no need for supplemental local heating. So this to me looks like it's the opposite of what the passage was saying. C, at current surface temperatures, more than 80% of sites can meet at most 25% of home heating needs. Well, it was at the maximum temperature that more than 80 of them right here could meet their needs. So we can get rid of that one. And D, at current surface temperatures, more than 80% of the sites cannot use subsurface thermal pollution to meet any portion of needs. That's really complicated, but the 80% was going with the maximum, not the current. So you can already kind of get rid of that, because if you'll notice, this bar right here, this bar right here is almost 80. So if you say more than 80, you're already off. But it was at maximum where it was more than 80, or it was almost 80. Actually, let me totally start again with this one. Let's start again with answer choice D. At current surface temperatures, more than 80% of the sites cannot use subsurface thermal pollution to meet any portion of local home heating needs. That actually looks really good because we've got more than 80. It's slightly above the 80 line here. And 0% of them have their needs met. So that matches perfectly. But at the maximum plausible surface temperature, that percent drops to below 20%. So at the maximum temperature, which is the dark bar, we see that same percent, which is right here, dropping to below 20. So maximum temperature, the dark bar, the percent that cannot use subsurface temperature, so that's the zero drops below 20. So this is really, really good. So right now we need to find something wrong with either A or D. And let's go back to choice A. It says, under both temperature conditions, less than 10% of the sites were in the up to 25% group. Now, that might be kind of wasteful right there, because I mean, although that's true, what does that prove? So right now that's a strike against A. But at the maximum plausible temperature, almost 80% of the sites could have all their local heating needs met by thermal pollution. So if we're choosing between A and D, we can get rid of A now, because A is only really talking about the maximum temperature. It's not at all comparing it to the current surface temperature. So we'll get rid of A, and the answer here is D.